Hello friends, today I'd like to talk about the ethics of Kickstarter, and the reason I mention this is because there was a very interesting talk at GDC by Steve Swink, developer of the really exciting looking game Scale, about sort of his experience with Kickstarter and his take on the ethics of it. And he also name-dropped Neverending Nightmares. So I think, well, you can watch the talk. I think you should watch the talk. I think it's very interesting. But certainly his premise seems to be that as Kickstarter project organizers, we're not being super ethical necessarily by offering people with the promise of something we might not be able to deliver on in exchange for very real money. I mean, I think it's an interesting thing to think about, and it's something that I thought about. I mean, obviously, as someone who did a Kickstarter project and someone who considers myself, well, I consider myself an ethical person, or at least someone who aspires to be. So I thought long and hard about this, and I think if you really want to get into the ethics of Kickstarter, you have to sort of look at what are people backing and why. And I know I've talked about this, talked about it at a PAX East panel, but I think when people are backing projects on Kickstarter, they're looking for more than a pre-order. At least I hope so. Or they're looking for something different than a pre-order. Because, and I've said this many times, and certainly I think this was the point that his talk hinges on, is that Kickstarter is a terrible mechanism for pre-ordering games. I mean, unless your Kickstarter is going to... your game's done and you're going to deliver in like a month, which, I mean, some people do, you know, to generate buzz about their game or whatever. But, I mean, if you're selling something that isn't close to finished, which, I mean, a lot of Kickstarters, you know, projects still need a ways to go, and you're selling them on the promise or the potential of something, then it's a very risky proposition. It's not a good bet for project or funders, you know, certainly I've talked about how to try and get the most out of your Kickstarter bucks and back projects which are successful, but fundamentally there's a degree of risk associated with any project. I mean, like, I don't know, for Neverending Nightmares, what if I died, right? Like, fingers crossed, perish the thought, but, like, what if I died? I mean, I don't know. I think it would be very difficult for the team to finish Neverending Nightmares without me. I don't know. I have some notes somewhere. I put some stuff on the wiki, but I'm not really sure it will be the game that you're looking to play, right? I mean, that's risk. I mean, that's the risk inherent in any Kickstarter, right? I mean, Neverending Nightmares, we're in pretty good shape. We have things people are playing, and people are digging it. But, I mean, yeah, it's possible we could not deliver. And, I mean, certainly, I hope I don't die. But I'm merely trying to illustrate there are things that could stop us. Very, very large things. If I got crushed by a very large object, that could stop us from delivering Neverending Nightmares. But otherwise, I mean, we know what we need to do, and we're doing it. But I think I'm getting a little silly and off the general principle, is that what I offer to you as backers, and I think this is important, is something more than just a pre-order to the game. What I'm offering is the chance to help me make this game with, well, no, I already said me. Help make the game with me, and, you know, to be part of the community, to be part of, and I do feel like, you know, especially the very active people on the forums, you know, I do feel like they're sort of part of the development team, and I value their opinions, and we talk about things, and I don't know, I have a great time on the forums, and I think everyone there is like my friend, and I look forward to reading their posts, and you should totally join the forum if you haven't already. But I mean, like, this is something that I think is cool, right? I mean, I have, you know, total nerd crushes on some game developers. Certainly, I don't think anyone has a nerd crush on me, but I'm just saying that, you know, I mean, I've been in the game business for over 10 years, and, you know, I know a lot of people, and I can, like, name drop, like, oh, yeah, I was just hanging out with the lead programmer at Naughty Dog, who's one of my very best friends. But anyway, I mean, you know, and other people might think that's cool, but, well, I think he's cool, but anyway, I'm getting off topic again. But I mean, just the idea, you know, to interface with a game developer and to talk about whatever, you know, that's something interesting. That's something worth, you know, $15 or whatever to someone. I mean, people ask me, like, how do I get into writing in games? And I tell them, and there are people who say, you know, I care about this. What do you think? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm putting myself out there, and I mean, to some extent, I think that's sort of what the Kickstarter is about, is sort of, you know, giving people extra insight into the game, into the development process, into what we're trying to accomplish, where we succeed and where we fail. And I think that's really interesting. And I mean, certainly, you know, I'm a jaded game developer, and, you know, it's like, whatever, you know, I already know how games are made, but not everyone does. And I think that's, to some extent, a perspective you lose as a game developer, and something that is valuable to people. And we're also creating all these value-added, you know, content. And you know, I kind of wish I did my reward structure differently, because, you know, some of the add-ons I think are shaping up to be, you know, really special. Like, I think the developer commentary, I haven't done it yet, but I feel like I'm going to have a lot of interesting things to say. But, I mean, sort of the crown jewel of add-ons, at least in my opinion, is the designer's notebook. And I'm up to, I think, like 60 pages of things. And, you know, there's, like, game ideas, which I morphed into, you know, Neverending Nightmares. There's, you know, early design docs. There's another version of the design doc. There's, I don't know if I put in the schedules. Schedules are always really embarrassing because they're totally wrong. But, you know, there's my brainstorming notes. There's my, you know, more fleshed out notes for each level, what I'm trying to accomplish. There's things about endings that we're not doing. There's things about, well, anyway, I mean, there's a ton of crap in this, not crap, a ton of really quality, awesome stuff. I mean, the things that might be interesting to someone, you know, jam-packed into this document. And, you know, I forget what we're charging. I don't know, something. But I mean, like, you know, if I were to do a Kickstarter campaign again, which I probably will, you know, this is something that I would offer as, like, an exclusive Kickstarter reward or something like that. And you know, that I think adds value. You know, that's something you're getting through Kickstarter that, you know, maybe doesn't make sense to sell. I mean, I don't know. I guess we sell add-ons for Slacker packets or something. I don't know. But I mean, it's just sort of this interesting thing where you're generating more value. And I think this is kind of a great thing for game developers. And I mean, there's the Amplitude Kickstarter running right now. I don't know where it's at. I mean, and it'll probably be done by the time I upload this video, and I mean, odds are they're gonna succeed because they're like 2 days away, and, you know, the graph has been shooting up. And one of the interesting things I noticed is looking at the average pledge per person. And the average pledge per person is like $60 or $70, which is crazy. Like, that is crazy, because the game costs like $20. So that, you figure, you know, 30, 35, maybe that's going to be where the average is. But it's like $60. And so, like, giving people a way to pay more for something that they really, really want is great as a game developer. So, like, for example, Retrograde, many people said Retrograde was like the missing link between Frequency and Guitar Hero, or at least someone said that, and I thought it was really cool, and then I kept saying it all the time. But so, Retrograde is a similar game to Amplitude. Retrograde did not, because Frequency and Amplitude, it was basically a sequel. Anyway, but I mean, we didn't bring in anywhere near $775,000 or whatever. They're at like $650,000 or something. We didn't bring in nearly that much money, but we were selling a game for $10. Now, you know, and again, I mean, doing a Kickstarter, and obviously we're not in the same position as Harmonix, you know, where we have these fans and blah, 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 but I'm just saying the idea that you can say, you know, maybe this is worth a little more to you, you know, and I mean, certainly Neverending Nightmares, people are paid, you know, $1,000 to get. I mean, I think our highest, you know, non-family and friend backer was $1,500. So someone paid $1,500, you know, never met him, no idea who he is, and we did get a couple thousand guys, a couple 500 guys, you know, like, these are people I've never met, and these are people who say, I like this so much, I'm gonna drop a wad of cash on you. And I mean, that's really great for a game developer, because it gives me a lot more freedom, right? Like, if people were willing to pay $1,000 for Retrograde, I mean, obviously we value added, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to just, you know, jack up the price of Retrograde to $1,000. I guess I'm getting off topic, but just the idea that, you know, people are, you have an avenue to get, to have people put in more for, because they want to be part of the game. And, you know, that's what we're doing with the backer portraits and whatnot. We're making people part of the game, and the backer portraits have actually been extremely challenging, and that's a whole nother thing. But, I mean, I think it's really great that we can, you know, that an avenue exists where we can say, hey, you know, we want to make this game for you guys, and we know it's a gamble for you, but to make it worth your while, we're going to do all these different things, which you may not have gotten. I mean, certainly, I don't know. I mean, maybe moving forward, I would still want to do the open sort of development, but I guarantee you I wouldn't be doing 3 developer diaries a week, and you know, the weekly updates where I write, I don't know, 2 pages in Word or whatever of, you know, this is what I'm thinking, this is what's going on with the game. I mean, that's a lot of content I'm creating for backers, and to make their backing worthwhile. And so I do think that, yeah, I mean, there are some ethical considerations, but I think you as a project creator have to think about, how am I going to make this worth people's while? And I think this is something that is going to be increasingly challenging as everyone jumps on Kickstarter. I mean, I was reading something about how it's definitely getting harder to have a success on Kickstarter, especially when you're asking for big numbers. But I mean, I think it's that you have to think about, what am I offering people, and why is it worth their time? Why is it worth their money? You know, why is my Kickstarter, you know, going to be more fun or better experience than other ones? And I mean, obviously, I'm not saying I have the best Kickstarter. You know, I'm sure there's some people who do it better than I, but I have a very strong commitment to my backers, which, you know, I encourage everyone doing a Kickstarter project, you know, to do that level of updates, to support their community, because, you know, again, they took a chance on you, and you have to make it worth their while. And at least that's, in my mind, how I, you know, reconcile it as ethical. I mean, would, you know, Steve Swink agree with me? I don't know. You know, probably not, because, I mean, certainly there is some, you know, discomfort being in the project creator role where you're asking people for money. But, I mean, you know, and some personalities are okay with that, and some personalities aren't. And, you know, when I started 24 Karat in 2008, I don't think I would have been comfortable, you know, doing a Kickstarter at all. But you know, when we were doing Neverending Nightmares, and you know, I had seen how what happens when I try to do things on my own, I thought that, you know, this would be something really great for me, and it certainly has been. So anyway, thanks for watching, and if you think my Kickstarter is unethical or something, I don't know. I'd be interested to hear why, but certainly I try my best to make it a great thing for everyone. So thanks for watching.